Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Saladino.
You felt she hated you at that moment because you mentioned that she said it was going to be very professional. Oh, you won an Emmy. Congratulations. You put the city on. You own for the city. Yada, yada, yada. And now, did she mention anything about the Emmy on camera?
I believe you saw the video and you know that none of that took place. See, the issue is that all the comedians have to come do these radio stations because you have to sell your tickets. And so that means you have to go to the radio station.
Yes.
I don't go to the radio station and I don't make posts to sell tickets. I just don't. Yeah, and this person knew I wasn't there for that yeah, it's...
But how hard? Because you have to understand, she is a female, and so you have to be careful. You have to handle her with kid gloves.
Sir. You want to go ahead and take that out? You don't want to be against equality, do you?
No.
What you just said was very unequal, sir.
But
I think maybe you've had enough of this. Because I think I just heard you say that women are not equal and should be treated unequally.
They want to be treated.
You mean
equal.
as a comedian?
No. They want. Listen, you understand, and I understand.
Yeah.
In certain situations, they want to be treated equal. Not all situations.
So this 13-year-old kid beat Tetris. Boy, 13, is believed to be the first to beat Tetris. Willis Gibson, a competitive Tetris player prodigy from Oklahoma, advanced so far in the original Nintendo version of the game that it froze. "I can't feel my fingers," he said afterward.
"I got blisters on my fingers!"
So this is an amazing achievement. Apparently only AI has done it before. It's really astounding. And it's one of those things that even if you're not into it, once you hear first human to do this thing ever, you're like, that's cool. Humans can be amazing. But of course, and I'm just going to say it, I don't care how it sounds, but leave it to a woman to shit on everything.
Now, Tetris has long been touted as a video game that just can't be beaten because it just goes on and on.
Oh my God!
Well, 13-year-old American Willis Gibson has technically proven that wrong. He beat the original Nintendo version of the game by reaching such a high level that the coding froze. That left the program unable to generate any more falling blocks. As a mother, I would just say step away from the screen, go outside, get some fresh air. Beating Tetris is not a life goal. Speaking of fresh air, let's get a look at the weather.
The thing about this, and this is why I'm making a point about talking about this hominid's gender, is that this goes back to everything we talk about when it comes to geek and nerd culture. Men's hobbies in general. Women, by and large, do not like or care about this stuff. Your boy Zach, he did this video. I think I might have used a bit of it a while back, where he talked about how D&D became popular in his school. And it wasn't the jocks that came over and stopped it. It was the girls. Like he said, they shut that shit down. It didn't even last a week, or about a week it lasted, and then they shut it down. He went on to make this point where, he's reading a comic book one day. This jock comes over to him. He thinks the jock's going to rag him about reading a comic book because he asks him, "Hey, what are you reading?" And he's like, "Well, it's an X-Men comic," something like that. And the two of them had this great conversation. Even though those guys had jocked, and they had a good conversation about it and went on their way. But it was the girls who always shit on the boys for being geeks and nerds. But in my real life, I've experienced the same thing. I remember I was in high school. Me and this guy were reading a comic. I had the comic, and I was showing him the comic. And this girl, I remember her name to this day, Dinah, gorgeous. And she walked by, and she was really cool. For the longest time I knew her, she was really cool. She walks by, getting off the bus. We were on the school bus reading this comic. She sees us, and she sneers, "Comic books," and then leaves. I never thought about her the same since then. I couldn't understand why she was so worried and concerned about it. It's like, she knows me. We got along fine. So I don't know why she was so obnoxious about it, just seeing me with this comic. Now, of course, later I realized, but she actually liked me. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing when it came to girls. So I liked her, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But at the same time, there was somebody else I really liked. But anyway, I didn't know what I was doing. So I didn't know how to just approach her. So to her, me reading comics was like this thing that was taking attention away from her. And it was like the thing, this is where he's not talking to me because he's just this nerdy geek. He don't know what he's doing. Just one of those things. And it may sound like I'm going off on a tangent when I say that, but I think a lot of us in this space have realized over the years with the way women have come into gaming and comic books and superhero films. A big part of this issue with women getting involved in all this stuff is that it takes attention away from them. That really is a big part of it. Women can be extremely intolerant. It's weird because they're the main ones driving this culture war bullshit, but also there's women who don't like gay men. Not because they're competition, but it does take attention away from them. And I think anything that seems like it's not manly enough, or so you have this hominid laughing at this kid and diminishing his achievement. And again, I'm just going to say it. Part of the reason why she did that is because she didn't like his reaction after he got it, after he realized he did this amazing thing. She didn't like his reaction at all. And I'm going to go all red pill here and say she associates a kid getting so excited over an accomplishment that involves something that she doesn't respect. She sees it as him being weak and feminine. To be frank, I'm just saying. She probably thinks the kid's gay. I'm just going to say it. And women hate that. They just do. That's why the same person, this woman, this hominid, this entity, she can denigrate your boy, Willis Gibson, but also praise the dart player's achievement. This teenage dart player who almost won the world championship or whatever, right? And it's really the jocks versus the geeks all over again, but it's seen through the eyes of the women. I wonder, now you think back in the history of the world, the reason why jocks treated nerds so bad was because the women pushed them to it. It was like the dominance thing that jocks wanted to show that, hey, we're not like those guys. So we're going to show you we're not like those guys. So, you look at this dart guy. Darts is not super manly or anything, but it's a sport. And you look at this guy, this motherfucker looks 40. So of course the reporter takes him more seriously than this other little kid. And in a way, I'm not even mad that she doesn't respect a video game achievement. Even though this is literally the guy. He's the first human being to beat this game in however many years it's been. Didn't the game come out 82, 84, something like that? First person to do it. Only AI did it before. Humans are always showing the amazing things that, we can do. The problem, though, even if she doesn't respect that achievement, and it's just something that she doesn't think is manly, she doesn't think it's practical. I'm a mother. I don't want my kid to just be playing video games. I'm going to be a doctor, all that stuff. Fine. She has all those issues in her head. But the issue is how comfortable she felt dismissing this guy and laughing at him. And this is the problem with putting women in charge of male hobbies, male entertainment. Women always get mad at men online when men say not all men. And I know there are women out there who are really into this stuff. And I'm not interested in gatekeeping them from enjoying it. But by and large, when it actually comes to producing this stuff, this is what I mean when I say women should not be doing it. They're ruining these hobbies. This is largely a male-dominated customer base, fan base. This is stuff that men, over time, created, grew, and just found themselves naturally attracted to. It doesn't have anything to do with empowering females or even, different ethnicities. I'm black, but I don't need this to be made for black people. It's always cool when you have cool black characters in stuff like X-Men or Blade, stuff like that. That's cool, but I don't want it forced. I don't want it twisted. I don't want to take somebody else's culture, like Norse mythology, which is for Aryans, which is for Vikings. I don't want that turned to make me feel better about myself, because that's not the point of art and entertainment. It's never been that point. These idiots, and it's mainly women, who've driven and pushed this. That's why I make a big point of the gender, because you see how they act when they actually, the mask is off and they're actually watching somebody in their natural habitat, this little kid playing this video game, doing this amazing thing, she can't shut up enough to just say, hey, this is cool what this kid did. Nice, fun human interest story. No, she's got to denigrate him. She's got to put him down. And now they've gone and put women like this in charge of the things that we love and care about. And then when we complain, they get mad and they call us all kinds of bigots, right? The thing is, I know that there are exceptions. Like I keep saying, I know it's like not all men, not all women. There are exceptions even when it comes to creating this stuff. There's Amy Hennig and Catherine Bigelow, Ann Nesenti, Louise Simonson, Mary Jo Duffy. Just look at Star Wars, though. And the woman hired to do the Rey movie, I don't even know why they're even making a Rey movie. I don't know if they even will, but just look at her. She has no business making a Star Wars film whatsoever. She's out here making documentaries about trans people in Pakistan. Who looks at that and goes, yeah, she should make a Star Wars film? This is Star Wars. There would never have been a time in history, except now that you have Kathleen Kennedy in charge, that you would put somebody like this person, this documentary filmmaker, this man-hating feminist. You would never put her in charge of a multi-million-dollar production like a Star Wars film. But that's how cheap Star Wars is now. That's how thoughtless Kathleen Kennedy is with this franchise. That she'll just put somebody who, if she really cared about showing that women actually could make a great Star Wars film, she could just get somebody like Bryce Dallas Howard to make the film. But she doesn't care about Star Wars. She wants to undermine it because she thinks it's silly and stupid. And she hates the fans. And I don't know what kind of Brandon Iron shit Lucas and Spielberg did to her. But, again, she doesn't care about putting good people in charge of this project. I think I said this in another video where I talk about Rey. There was a chance to make Rey great and fun. You didn't have to shit on Luke to do it. And now, with this film, you don't have to hire somebody who's openly talking about, hey, but to make men uncomfortable. Uncomfortable about what? Not even going to go there. But see, that's the thing. When I complain about women working on this stuff, I'm talking about most women. There are women out there who can do it. But those are the ones they don't want because those women will make something that men will enjoy. And the point is, for these women, what men like is harmful to women. If she's fat, old, lesbian, sex negative, whatever, anything that men like, including women, is bad and harmful to women. And the thing is, you can't even complain and say that these women are ruining things that I care about. You can't say, this is something I grew up with. This thing has meaning to me. It's important to me. And I know what goes into it. I know why it's supposed to be appealing to me. Again, you say that, they call you a homophobe. They say you're a misogynist. They say you want to foster this hateful culture against women. This stuff isn't for women. Women can enjoy it, but they're not the intended audience for it. This is not a platform for them to, get their jollies off on being seen as better than men. It's so stupid. It's insane. People complained about the Ubisoft Star Wars game. That stupid one that's coming out where you have that woman who looks like a rip-off version of Han Solo. No hips, no ass, just really dull and boring. But she's supposed to be the star of it. And she's sitting at a table talking to a bunch of other females, human and otherwise, right? And people complained and said, hey, I'm waiting for Ubisoft to put a Star Wars solo or single player game out. And then it's this chick. Star Wars is not really this chick-driven thing. Why do I have to play a chick? Why can't it be a dude? And then you get articles saying men need to have empathy for women. Empathy for women in a male hobby. Star Wars was for boys. Just because a girl's in it, Leia, doesn't make it for girls. And no matter what any one of these assholes out here who bring up female fans, Kathleen Kennedy herself knows Star Wars is for boys, which is why she hates Luke Skywalker so much and keeps removing him from everything, which is why she ignores the extended universe, which is why she keeps pushing Rey down everyone's throat, and hiring this man-hating weirdo with no experience directing a huge, big budget film. It's that whole thing about how these diversity hires get to just skip to the head of the line. The entitlement that these people have and thinking that, no, it's now time for women to take charge. Why? Why is it time for... This stuff is not even important to you. You're not even being excluded. It's just not for you. If you want to, take part of it, again, take part in it. But they act like this is this club that they need to be a part of just because. Again, they don't even care about it. It's insane. How many industries do you know hire people who hate the product, hate the customer base, and yet they're allowed to make important decisions for the direction of these companies? They're getting away with this stuff in movies, comic books, video games, and they do it because it's so easy to demonize men just for enjoying things. It's easy to pretend that women are being harmed because men find women attractive. And it's easy to pretend that because a woman is seen as a sex object, somehow that dehumanizes a woman, even if the woman in question is literally fictional, right? They get away with the moral panic about video game characters' dress flipping up and the gamer being able to see her panties, or, upskirt cameras and all that stuff. But it's only if the character is attractive. If the character looks like, the average Twitter user, that's fine. Like I always say, and I'm going to keep saying this, they do not have a problem with men sexualizing women. And again, that's just a meaningless term. Humans naturally find other humans attractive. It's not like this separate thing where you can see a woman and never find her attractive or not check her out. If you don't find her attractive, you don't find her attractive. If you do, you do. This is not this thing where it's compartmentalized, where I see a woman. Now let me turn and activate the sexualizing part of my brain to now decide if I find her attractive or not. That's not how it works. You see a beautiful landscape, it's a beautiful landscape. You're not sexualizing it. Anyway, with all that being said, they don't care about sexualization. They care about who's being sexualized. They care about the body type that's sexualized. You do the sex scene in The Last of Us Part 2, and men go, that's disgusting because Abby looks gross. The same women who would complain about a so-called unnecessary sex scene in a video game or something, when this attractive woman will then go, oh, grow up. You don't know anything about sex, you incel. Then you have these weirdos online who lose their mind over straight sex. And again, like I always say, these idiots wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for straight people. But they act like a mod to make like Black Cat as hot as she should be, or at least almost as hot as she should be. They act like this is some kind of attack on women. And they have no problem with death threats. They just get away with it because they're part of this, insane subset of a sexuality group. So whatever, I'm not at all surprised that this woman thinks so little of a 13-year-old boy who just did what no human has ever done before. Again, it's amazing that things have gotten to a point where she would feel comfortable openly doing it live in 4K. And there are people like her who are allowed to work on male hobbies and make them vehicles for female empowerment. Again, our hobbies, men's hobbies, are not platforms for women. And we have to keep calling them out on this shit. We can't keep letting them get away with pretending that what they're doing is morally right. We've got sound arguments on our side. We've got plenty of examples showing that what they're doing is ruining our entertainment. It has nothing to do with them being women or gay or trans or anything like that. It's literally about they don't respect this. They don't respect or care about what we like, but they have the nerve to decide what should go into our entertainment.